Hello everyone and welcome back to MK's Aviation. So today I finally have the Gemini Jets versus NG models Delta A321 video for you guys. Now this kind of took a while longer than expected to produce for a couple reasons. It's kind of funny because both of these models actually came broken at first. So for the Gemini Jets one, the main landing gear came apart, so the tire, the axle just fell out and the tire rolled off. The NG one had the same thing, just on the left gear, I believe it was. Yeah, the left gear fell off. So, but the difference was the Gemini Jets one was in the box. This one was not. So I had to send the NG one back. Yeah. Now let's just go over how this competition is going to work. So first off, we're gonna have 4 categories. We're gonna have detail, so that's just antennas, Wi-Fi boxes, printing, just stuff like that. The second category is mold, so that's the biggest one. Does the aircraft look realistic? Is it right? The third category is color, so whose color is more realistic? And the last category is price. Now price is an important one because that's how you actually afford to get models, as they're kind of expensive these days. So yeah, 4 categories. They're going to be worth a certain amount of points. So detail is worth 25 points, mold is worth 50 points, color is worth 15 points, and price is worth 25 points. So whoever gets the category will get the amount of points. And yeah, so with that being said, let's just give a little bit about each different company's model. We'll start off here with the Gemini Jets Delta A321. So this one is the 2020 release, not the 2016 release. This one is a lot better. It's got the new improved Gemini Jets A321 mold. This is the same one as the Frontier one. It looks very nice, and yeah, should give it I think you'll be surprised how good of a fight it will produce against NG. Now just taking a look at the NG Delta A321. Now this one was also released in 2020, I believe. It is a great model, as you can see. Nothing really more to say about it. And yeah, this will be a great challenge for the Gemini Jets one to compete with. So now that we've met our contestants, let's move on to the first category, which is detail. Now both of these models have basically identical detail, so just taking a look at the Gemini Jets one, we've got the front little red thingy. All the cabin door decals are there, Delta titles, everything. We've got an antenna, engine decals there, Wi-Fi box, and then 2 more antennas back here. If we were to take a look at the underside, we would see all of the special vents and lights down there, as you would on any other Gemini Jets model. So yeah, and then as well as that, if you look at the wings, they have all the indentions for the flaps and slats and all that good stuff. Same thing with the horizontal stabilizers. So yeah, very detailed model. And then if we look over at the NG models, you will see basically the same exact thing. So we have the little red thing at the front on the nose there. We have the antenna there. Another, the same red little stamp thing as you can see on the Gemini Jets one. Then moving back, we have engine decals there. We have the same 2 antenna back here as well. We have the Wi-Fi box, and yeah, some more antenna down there, and the wings. Now the wings are the same thing too, with the indentions on them, and same for the horizontal stabilizers. So, and then also if we took a look at the bottom of the plane, we'd see that they have the basically the same exact detail down there. So as we can see, both models are basically identical in detail, so they will both get 25 points for this category, as it is a tie. Now the second category, which is not a tie, we have molds. Now just taking a look from this view right here, These models actually look very close to each other. Now there are some distinct differences. That being Gemini Jets' fuselage is quite a bit wider than the NG one is. I'm not really sure exactly whose is more realistic. One thing I can say, however, is if we take a closer look here at the front, the Gemini Jets one is just more pointy than the NG one is. So it's just a little bit too long, in my opinion. If we look at any pictures, you will see that the NG one just looks a little bit more realistic. It just looks a little bit more realistic instead of the Gemini Jets version, which still looks decent. It's just not as good. The other thing with the Gemini Jets mold is the engines. Now the engines have always been too big. When compared to NGs, you can see that they are not nearly as big. So yeah, NG definitely has a better engine size there. As well, you can see from this shot that Gemini Jets has a lot more wing flex. Now this isn't to say that I think Gemini Jets is unrealistic, because if this plane was in flight or taking off, this is how the wings would look because of the wind and the different air pressures and just stuff like that. So yes, Gemini Jets does have quite a bit more wing flex than the NG models does. So for that's also going to help NG in this category. However, even with Gemini Jets still having the giant engines, NGs are just not, they don't have enough clearance. If we look at a picture of a A321, we will see that the engines are actually much higher off the ground than this. If we look at the Gemini Jets version, we can see that there is at least some clearance there, a little bit more than we would have on the NG models one. So clearance wise, Gemini Jets is higher off the ground, which does help it look a little bit better. So, but as far as who has the better mold, I don't think there's a question, as it is NG. NG has the better mold here, but that is not to say that Gemini Jets is bad either. I think both are pretty good. NG is better though, so that'll give 50 points to NG for the mold category, and we'll move on to the next category, which is color. Now, both these models look pretty identical in color, so we're gonna have to take a very close look here. Now, the place we're gonna have to look for this here is the tail section. Now you can see a little bit of a difference in color. We can see that the far one there has a more brighter red shade and is more of a bluish, kind of a bluish navy color instead of this more navy black-ish color. So because of this, the NG version for me is just kind of too dark. It reminds me of, I'm not sure if any of you guys have it, I'm sure some of you do, the old, not the newer one, the older Delta 777 by Gemini Jets. That one has a very dark tail, the same thing with the A320 by Gemini Jets, the older releases. So they kind of just, this one has just too dark of a tail compared to the Gemini Jets one. However, the tail is very similar, as you can see, so it's really not a big difference. That's why color doesn't have as much of an effect here. Points wise, in Gemini Jets, they're always more realistic with their color. NG always has some nice colors, they just aren't realistic most of the time. They just look good, you know, like with the JetBlue A321s and some of the Southwest models. They look good, but they're not exactly like 100% correct. So yeah, the color category goes to Gemini Jets. Now for the last category, we have price. Now price is a pretty important category in my opinion. I know to some people it's not, but for me it is very important, as I am the one who has to work for these models and pay for them myself, so as most people do, so price is very important. So to compare price fairly, we have to take the retail value of when these models first come out. So we'll look at the Gemini Jets first. Now, people give Gemini Jets a lot of hate, and just because their prices keep going up. However, on places like eBay and actually most model retailers sell them for $35 retail, so that hasn't really changed in the past at least 4 or 5 years since I've been collecting. So as we can see, the Gemini Jets retail cost is $35. Now if we shift over to the NG models one, however, retail price for this one is $45 or $44.90 or whatever they say. It's $45. So as we can see, it is a $10 difference. Now $10 might not be a big difference for most people, and it's really not, except when you start buying lots of these models like I do, you get into kind of a big difference. So if you were to buy, let's say, 3 of these models, 3 Gemini Jets Delta A321s, that's going to cost you $105. However, if you buy 3 NG Delta A321s, it's going to cost you a lot more. It's going to cost you $135 to buy 3, which is a $30 difference. Now with $30 you can nearly buy a whole nother model. So just economic wise, the NG one is a lot more expensive, and really in comparison, as we've already shown, these models really aren't that different. So yeah, Gemini Jets definitely takes the price category. So let's just recap real quick. So for the final scores of each manufacturer, Gemini Jets gets the 25 for the detail, the 15 for color, and 25 for price, giving them a final score of 65 points. Now NG, only winning 2 categories, gets 25 for detail and 50 points for the best mold, giving NG a final score of 75 points. We can see that NG models gets a 10-point higher score than Gemini Jets on this model with 75 instead of 65. So what was the point of me making this video? Well, as we can see, the NG models is still a better model than the Gemini Jet version. However, as I've shown, the Gemini Jet's model is not very bad at all, as people like to often complain about. If we look at these models, they're still very good and compared pretty equally to each other. In the end, you have to decide between having a better model that is more expensive, or a still pretty decent model that is less expensive and you can buy more of. So the point of me making this video was to show that Gemini Jets still makes nice models when compared to NG, and even with NG being a little bit better, Gemini Jets is much more economic friendly and is still a very nice model, as I've said. So in the end, I've come to the conclusion that NG is the better model here, while Gemini Jets is the more economic and budget-friendly model for the price. I get that this is my personal opinion, so I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think I was fair? What do you think? What's your decision? So yeah, I'd love to hear your ideas. I am planning on making a Gemini Jets versus NG part 2 here sometime in the future, so yeah, that should be coming down the road. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I've been teasing it for a while, and yeah, I know not everyone's gonna agree with me, and that's okay. I really couldn't care less, but I am excited to hear your opinions, and yeah, that is gonna do it for me, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.